Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we're in the shop. Today will not be a car update. Today is going to be a shop update, shop upgrade, whatever you want to call it. You guys can see that we're standing in front of our air hose reel, and I bought this 2 houses ago. So I bought my first house in 2010. It is now 2021, and yeah, so I believe this hose reel is over 11 years old, something like that. And you know, it survived just fine in my first house. Then we've been in this shop for the last just about 6 years, not quite 6 years, but just about that point. So, you know, we've had this same rubber hose in here for the last 10 years. And yes, they do have a adaptable end on here where you could loosen the collar, take this whole assembly off, and move it further down the hose. But the problem we're running into is the further, you know, the further I cut it off, the more this air hose is just deteriorating and popping it. So like every time I use this air hose, I hear a little psh, and then air pressure coming out and dropping from somewhere else down the further in the rubber hose. We're just gonna end up replacing the entire rubber hose assembly. To do that, we're actually gonna use another Harbor Freight air hose. It lasted 11 years, so if we get another 10 years out of this one, that'd be great. So what I ended up with was their Diablo brand 3/8 by 50 feet premium rubber air hose. Plus, I honestly used gift cards, so I'm not out any money for this air hose. They sell different types. They sell like plastic, PVC, rubber, nylon, and I ended up just going with another rubber hose because, like I said, it lasted 11 years. If we get another 11 years out of this, I'll be happy with that. Plus, in the end, it was free because I used gift cards. So today we're gonna be putting this 3/8 hose in place of that 3/8 hose. So we're gonna go ahead and get started by actually removing this hose connection right here, feed it through the air hose reel, pull this out, that way we're ready to mount the new hose. All right, so you can see we got the 3/8 hose barb out of the fitting here, and there were also 2 clamps. There's a clamp here and a clamp here. Those were holding the hose to the reel, so that's another thing you're gonna have to take off. So those 2 clamps are right here, you're gonna remove those. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we should be able to slide our hose through the hose reel assembly and remove it. All right, so I actually had to go to the store and get some fittings. There was a 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter that I needed to buy. I was simply out. Now I'm not gonna give you specifics on the fittings and downsizing and upsizing, because honestly, it's going to be unique for any type of air hose reel that you're trying to replace the hose. So, you know, this is for the Harbor Freight setup. It's 3/8 to 1/4, and then 3/8 to 1/4. But like I said, you know, this is going to be dependent on your type of air hose reel. All right, so you're going to hook up your air hoses to the manifold, if that's what you want to call this, on the side of the hose reel. You've got your input. This is the black line coming out of the tank. Red line, that's the line we replaced. Run that through there. The Harbor Freight air hose reel actually had a couple clamps. So you secure your air hose there on the outside. You secure it down here on the inside, and then to prevent any chafing, it has this spiral round steel coil. Put that there in its place. So now we're basically ready to reel this back in. All right, you guys can hear the fitting leaking a little bit. This fitting has always leaked. I don't know. Certain tools are just not, you press on it, it leaks a little bit, but that's all right. But nothing over here is leaking, so we're good there. All right, there you go. We pretty much finished up this install. We got the air hose, wound up on the reel. We got all the fittings done. We got all of the new thread sealant that we had to put on, thread tape. We put that on. We got our air hose end on here. It's a 3/8 by 1/4 inch industrial. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, so like I was saying earlier, we might add a filter or 2. I've been thinking about that, and I'd put that back there on the piece of wood, and we'd run some kind of hard line or some kind of new setup, because I'm not super happy with this rubber hose and all this crap kind of sitting here. So, and that's gonna be a wrap on the air hose install. So this install is kind of specific to the Harbor Freight stuff. But if you guys do have a other name brand or non-name brand air hose reel, you can go ahead and replace your hose pretty easily. All you gotta do is make sure you have the correct fittings. I ran into that issue because the old hose and the new hose setup just had slightly different sized fittings. I hope that helped you guys out on choosing a new hose instead of replacing this whole setup. I think that hose was about $24. And if you bought the whole setup, it would be $80 to $100 minimum. And the other thing is you'd have to remount it on the wall, and I don't want to do that. You know, this whole setup's pretty snug on the wall. Everything's pretty tight, and we haven't had any issues. And you know, in this case, it's far simpler just to replace the hose than to actually buy a new unit and go through all that pain. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more garage shop updates like this, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. And if you guys want to help support the channel, I'll try to include a link down below for the air hose and maybe some of the fittings and stuff that we had to buy. Well, like I said, this will not be universal. It is kind of unique per setup, you know, per hose, per reel. It's all going to be a little bit different. We'll include some links down below, and make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.